Jennifer Lopez and Marc Anthony are two of the most recognizable names in global entertainment. From sold-out concerts to blockbuster films, their careers have spanned decades and crossed cultural boundaries. But long before the red carpets, chart-topping hits, and international fame, both stars were shaped by something far more personal and powerful, their upbringing. To truly understand their drive, artistry, and resilience, it helps to look back at where it all began. Let's start with Jennifer Lopez. She was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, to Puerto Rican parents who believed deeply in hard work, discipline, and family unity. Contrary to popular assumptions, Lopez did not grow up surrounded by luxury or industry connections. Her father worked as a computer technician, and her mother was a homemaker who later worked in education. Together, they focused on building a stable, structured home for their three daughters. The Bronx in the 1970s and 1980s was vibrant, but challenging. It was culturally rich, filled with music, dance, and community spirit, but it also faced economic hardship. Lopez's parents worked hard to shield their daughters from negative influences and kept a strong emphasis on education and personal development. Their home environment was strict but supportive. Discipline mattered, respect mattered, and achievement mattered. From a young age, Lopez showed energy, confidence, and a love for performing. She began taking dance lessons at 5 years old. Her parents encouraged structured activities, believing that staying busy would keep their children focused and out of trouble. Dance quickly became more than just an after-school hobby. It became her outlet and identity. Lopez has often spoken about how her mother, in particular, instilled high standards in her. Mediocrity was not acceptable. If she was going to do something, she had to give it her all. That mindset would later define her work ethic in the entertainment industry. Growing up in a Puerto Rican household also meant being immersed in culture. Music played constantly in the house: salsa, merengue, and Latin ballads. Family gatherings were lively and full of rhythm. This environment deeply influenced Lopez's artistic style later in life. Even as she entered mainstream American entertainment, she remained connected to her Latin roots, often incorporating bilingual elements and Latin-inspired sounds into her music. Despite the encouragement in the arts, Lopez's parents prioritized education. They hoped she would attend college and pursue a stable, traditional career. After high school, she briefly enrolled in college, but felt drawn strongly toward dance and performance. This decision created tension at home. At one point, determined to pursue her dreams, she moved out to focus entirely on building a dance career. That period was not glamorous. She reportedly slept in dance studios and worked tirelessly at auditions. Rejection was common, but the resilience she had developed growing up helped her persist. Eventually, she landed a role as a fly girl dancer on the television show In Living Color, which became her first major break. That opportunity opened doors to acting and music. But behind every milestone was the foundation built in her childhood: discipline, cultural pride, and relentless determination. Now let's look at Marc Anthony. Like Lopez, Anthony was also born in New York City to Puerto Rican parents. He grew up in East Harlem, another culturally rich, but economically modest neighborhood. His father worked as a hospital cafeteria worker, and was also a musician. His mother was a homemaker who focused on raising their large family. Music was central in Anthony's household. His father played guitar, and exposed him to a wide range of musical styles, from traditional Latin sounds to American pop and rock. This early exposure shaped Anthony's ear and vocal style. He wasn't just hearing music, he was studying it, absorbing it, and learning how emotion could be communicated through melody. Growing up in East Harlem meant being surrounded by cultural fusion. Salsa rhythms filled the streets. Community events often centered around music and celebration. Anthony's Puerto Rican heritage was not just something spoken about, it was lived daily. Unlike the misconception that stars are discovered overnight, Anthony's path was built gradually. As a teenager, he began performing as a session vocalist for freestyle and house music acts in New York. He also wrote songs and sang backup for other artists before stepping into the spotlight himself. His father played a critical role in his development. Recognizing his son's vocal talent early on, he nurtured it carefully. He encouraged discipline and practice. Anthony has credited his father for teaching him musical structure and performance fundamentals. While Lopez's early focus was dance, Anthony's was voice. His instrument was internal. He developed powerful vocal control and emotional expression. His eventual breakthrough came in the salsa music world, where he became one of the genre's most influential modern voices. Though their career paths differed, Lopez and Anthony shared striking similarities in upbringing. Both were raised by hardworking Puerto Rican parents in New York neighborhoods often misunderstood by outsiders. Both grew up in homes where culture and family were central pillars. And both developed strong work ethics rooted in immigrant values. Their childhood environments were not defined by privilege, but by perseverance. Family expectations also shaped their identities. In many immigrant households, success is tied to sacrifice. Parents work tirelessly so their children can have opportunities they never had. That sense of responsibility can be powerful motivation. Both Lopez and Anthony have spoken about wanting to make their families proud. Cultural pride also played a major role. During the early stages of their careers, there were pressures within the entertainment industry to Americanize their identities. However, both artists leaned into their heritage, rather than distancing themselves from it. Lopez embraced Latin dance influences in her choreography, and incorporated Spanish-language tracks into her albums. Anthony stayed rooted in salsa even as he crossed over into English-language pop music. Their upbringing helped them navigate fame with resilience. The entertainment industry can be unpredictable and unforgiving. Rejection, criticism, and intense scrutiny are common. But growing up in hardworking households where persistence was expected likely strengthened their ability to withstand challenges. It's also important to understand the emotional tone of their childhoods. While discipline was present, so was warmth. Latino family culture often emphasizes closeness. Extended relatives, family gatherings, shared meals. These experiences create strong emotional bonds. That emphasis on family unity later became visible in both stars' public lives, as they frequently expressed devotion to their children and extended families. When Lopez and Anthony eventually married years later, their shared cultural background likely created a deep understanding between them. Though their romantic relationship later ended, their co-parenting dynamic has often reflected mutual respect rooted in shared values. Their stories challenge the narrative that celebrity success happens effortlessly. Neither grew up with industry privilege or wealth. They built careers step by step, audition by audition, performance by performance. For Lopez, the defining traits from childhood were ambition and boldness. She was willing to take risks, even if it meant disappointing expectations temporarily. For Anthony, it was emotional depth and musical dedication shaped by constant exposure to live instrumentation and vocal discipline. Another important aspect of their upbringing was representation. Growing up, Latino representation in mainstream American entertainment was limited. Seeing few people who looked like them in major roles may have fueled their desire to break barriers. Their success opened doors for future generations of Latin artists. Today, both are considered pioneers in bridging Latin and mainstream American markets. But that bridge was built on childhood foundations. Their early neighborhoods taught them adaptability. Living in diverse urban communities means interacting with multiple cultures, languages, and perspectives. That cultural fluency likely helped them connect with global audiences later in life. In interviews, Lopez often references her mother's strength and high expectations. Anthony frequently acknowledges his father's musical mentorship. These parental influences were not abstract, they were hands-on and consistent. Even their performance styles reflect upbringing. Lopez's stage presence combines discipline and showmanship traits learned through structured dance training. Anthony's performances emphasize vocal intensity and emotional storytelling, hallmarks of growing up immersed in expressive Latin music traditions. When we examine their childhoods side by side, we see parallels. Both raised in New York by Puerto Rican immigrant parents. Both grew up in financially modest households. Both exposed to rich Latin musical traditions. Both encouraged to pursue structured activities. Both developed strong work ethics early. These shared foundations shaped not just their careers, but their identities. It's easy to look at global fame and assume a life of ease. But behind every sold-out arena and platinum album is a story of upbringing, values, and resilience. In the case of Jennifer Lopez and Marc Anthony, their family lives were grounded in cultural pride, discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering belief in their potential. Their journeys remind us that humble beginnings can produce extraordinary outcomes. Understanding where they came from makes their accomplishments even more powerful. They didn't just achieve personal success, they carried their heritage onto global stages. And perhaps that's the most compelling part of their story. No matter how far they traveled in fame and fortune, the lessons from their childhood homes never left them.